Welcome to Story Mode, and this is the complete story of our favorite Twisted Metal clown and driver of the sinister ice cream truck, Sweet Tooth, Marcus Needles Kane.
Time to play.
With conflicting and continuous retcons, I will explain Needles' story in order of each video game's release, and to avoid any misconception, Marcus Kane and Needles Kane are the same person. Marcus is the somewhat more sane of the pair, while Needles is the deadly and psychotic alter ego. Also, despite what some might argue, Sweet Tooth is the name of Needles' ice cream truck, as he is the driver. Although some installments might call him Sweet Tooth directly, I will name him by what it is in that video game. Now with all that said and done, let's begin. Needles appears as a green-haired, wide-mouthed escaped mental patient. In the live-action ending, he's played by actor Robert Goodins, playing Charlie Kane, Needles' father, in this game's ending.
Sounds good to me, baby!
Needles' wish is to be reunited with his best friend Harold. He gets his wish, which turns out that Harold is but a paper lunch sack. As he monologues to Harold, Needles pulls out a machine gun and begins to shoot at Calypso and his bodyguards. The damsel tied up in his truck, which isn't really explained who she is or why she's there, is able to escape her ropes and pull a gun on Needles. Fun fact, the woman playing her is David Jaffe's ex-wife, Leslie Jaffe. David is one of the main designers behind Twisted Metal, as well as the first God of War video game.
It's Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Calypso thanks her and offers a reward. Wanting no part of it, she calls them both crazy and carjacks Needles.
You guys are both sick. I'm getting out of here, and I'm taking your truck.
1 year later, after the first tournament, the main driver here is Marcus Kane. Marcus is the driver of Roadkill and believes that Twisted Metal is all just a dream. He enters the tournament to find out the truth and begs Calypso for help. In his ending, Marcus is shown to be woken up from a coma in a hospital. The doctor sounds very similar to Calypso.
Oh, you were in a 25-car pileup on the freeway. It's a wonder you've come back to us at all. I will grant your wish, but please, feel free to come back and visit us anytime.
And with Marcus's family showing up and everything seemingly fine, it appears that Calypso and the Twisted Metal tournament are still lingering in his head. Needles appears as a locked character, only unlockable by inputting a code. Sporting his iconic flaming hair, Needles is still displayed as an escaped mental patient from a nearby hospital. And for his wish,
Sweet Tooth told me he wanted to live out his greatest fantasy, to become a bug in a tiny little garden out in the country.
he would spend his days in relaxation away from all those who deemed him to be crazy. Kind of ironic, isn't it? He would kill all other insects and wait for his day to come where he would be able to crawl back into the world of madness. Charlie King also appears as a locked character and the driver of Darktooth, but there is no code to unlock him, even after defeating him in the boss fight of the Hong Kong level. Twisted Metal 3 is where Needles would become the face of the franchise. The previous two games had Axel displayed prominently on the cover, but with Needles' consistent presence and memorable appearance, he would outshine the others, and be the only one shown on this game's cover art. Marcus Kane is the driver of Roadkill once again. He appears as a homeless man who said that the bald-headed friendlies told him that he'd win the contest this year. For some reason, this game's wishes and characters give me that why would they wish for that vibe, but it's also where Calypso really messes with the winner's wishes, just like Marcus and Needles.
Your wish is for the world to be covered in flowers. I picked my favorites. Aren't they beautiful? Your wish is to stay home and watch your daytime TV. Too bad you can't change the channel.
Enough! Calypso, let me up!
So here's Marcus's wish.
You wish for solitude among the pines, away from the crazy world I've turned this planet into.
I think what Marcus meant was like peace and quiet among the pines, as in the woods, where there wouldn't really be anyone or anything to bother him. But as a homeless and mental patient, he's sent to an insane asylum, Whispering Pines. Kind of fitting since he claimed a mothership of aliens told him to enter Twisted Metal. Needles once again appears as a locked boss character who is unlocked after completing the tournament or using a code. Needles' hair is, I think, supposed to be displayed as on fire, but it looks like a Jersey Shore Pauly D blowout.
Oh yeah!
His wish doesn't really fit his character either.
Your wish is to eat all the candy and ice cream you want.
Nowhere else in a Twisted Metal game does he even vaguely display his appetite for sweets. Maybe they're trying to do a play on his name Sweet Tooth, but come on, he's a psychotic clown. Anyways, Calypso gives him what he wants, but it seems like he forgot to keep his teeth clean and now has to suffer severe dental work. This is where Sweet Tooth put his big boy clown shoes on. In the epilogue, he's shown to be a simple farm boy. There's rumors of a carnival known as the Twisted Metal Tournament that travels from town to town and invites drivers to compete. The last one standing will be able to wish for their biggest desires. One day, the carnival traveled to Sweet Tooth's town. Entranced by the destruction, he ran away from home and joined the tournament. As the winner, Sweet Tooth's wish was to become the star of Twisted Metal, which sounds like a bit of a fourth wall break. Days, months, and years go by, and Calypso grows stronger with each soul collected in his ring. Eventually, Sweet Tooth gets tired of only being the face of the tournament, so he hatches a plan to be the master of Twisted Metal. He and his clown posse infiltrate Calypso's tower and throw him out the window. Now with the powerful ring, Sweet Tooth can take his place, seated at the throne
of the Twisted Metal Empire!
Although Sweet Tooth has no ending, he is still unlockable and playable and serves as the final boss fight before the winner is granted a wish. The only notable ending is Calypso's. He enters the tournament to reclaim his ring and power over the contest. Although Melvin suggests Calypso choose a different wish, he reminds him the rules of Twisted Metal.
Anything I desire is the prize. I won, and I desire the ring. Hand it over.
Calypso attacks the clowns and tackles Sweet Tooth. As they play tug of war with the ring, the conflict begins to release the souls trapped in the ring and destroys the tower. Eventually, it's just a pile of rubble. The ring is then found by a kid and shows that Sweet Tooth and Calypso have trapped themselves, forever battling for its power. Setting the tone darker for the series, Sweet Tooth's appearance and role is set from here on out. He's a sadistic clown, slaughtering anyone who crosses his path. He's soon captured and sentenced to death by electric chair. On the day of his execution,
there must have been over 1,000 people gathered outside to watch me fry. I was upset about that. There should have been more.
A preacher is in the observation room, who was thought to send a final prayer to Sweet Tooth's demented soul. However, the preacher put a curse on Needles, which engulfed his head into flames to forever burn. He broke free from the chair's straps and kills all 4 officers guarding him under a minute and put his mask back on. He was then sent to Blackfield Insane Asylum. After 3 months, Calypso visited him and offered him a spot in his tournament, and would remove the curse if he were the victor. Sweet Tooth agrees, with the intent on killing Calypso after getting the curse removed.
I figured I'd play along with this little game. After all, I could always kill him later.
When Sweet Tooth wins, Calypso gives him a vial of the preacher's blood. When he drinks it, the curse will be removed, but he must never kill again. If he does, then the curse will return to haunt him forever.
It took me all of 10 seconds. Let's face it, boys and girls. A man has to have his priorities.
Sweet Tooth crushes the vial and decapitates Calypso and rides off to become the greatest killer of all time. Charlie King and his son also appear as contestants. After a robber kills Charlie while driving in his taxi, his son puts together a controller that resurrected his father and now controls him in his taxi cab. The boy is criticized for this and is suggested to bury him.
They want to put me in a home and bury my dad. But I don't want him to leave me. I don't want to be alone.
He then hears of Calypso's contest and enters it. He promises to make everything better, but Calypso lies to the boy and destroys his controller, deactivating Charlie for good. Distraught, Charlie's son tries to fix the controller, but Calypso pulls him away and tells him that in time, the boy will take over the contest when he dies. Calypso would have preferred the other King child reference to be Sweet Tooth, but the boy killed him during the contest.
I was the next best thing. He said it was in my blood.
Hey, look at that. We're about halfway through the video. I guess that means you're enjoying it, right? So why don't you leave a like and subscribe to see more videos like this and gameplays. Now back to the story. This entry is rather short. This is the youngest we see Sweet Tooth, also being the youngest of this game's characters. He appears like a punk rock kid and controls the Tasty Treats ice cream truck RC car. Sweet Tooth enters the tournament to win a little ice cream. When he wins, Calypso gifts Sweet Tooth with an ice cream truck full of frozen treats.
Oh man, you could have had anything you wanted, and all you could think of is a little ice cream?
But the kid ends up tying Calypso to the front of the truck while being chased by police, showing that no matter his age, he remains mischievous and psychotic. Technically, there are 3 playable iterations of Needles in this one. Marcus Kane returns and still thinks Twisted Metal is nothing but a dream. Calypso even calls him out by his alter ego.
Twisted Metal is as real as you want it to be. And apparently you want it to be very real. Needles.
Getting irritated, Marcus wishes for the nightmare to finally end. He then wakes up in his home, seemingly everything is back to normal. Well, as normal as it can get.
I never did like this place.
As for Needles, he wishes to become the owner of Twisted Metal. This time, however, Calypso refuses to grant his wish.
Are you insane? I won't grant that wish.
I don't think you have a choice, Sunshine.
Showing that there is a higher power and control of Calypso and the tournament. With the roles reversed, Calypso, as Needles, commands his guards to kill Needles as Calypso, which Needles agrees. The guards shoot down Calypso as Needles takes his seat as the master of Twisted Metal yet again. Darktooth is driven by Marcus and Needles. I don't know how, but that's how it is. It serves as the first phase of the final boss fight and is unlocked after finishing the story mode. In Darktooth's tower ending, Marcus is seen running when he comes across Needles.
It feels like I've been here before. I have. We have. Whatever.
They then approach Towertooth. Confused, Marcus is told to ride with Needles inside the vehicle. Speaking of Towertooth, it is the second phase of the final boss fight in story mode. Although it's unplayable in story mode, you can use it to play in the Towertooth challenge and can be used in 2-player mode. Lost is an unfinished and cancelled sequel to Twisted Metal Black, with a working title to be Twisted Metal Harbor City. It was, however, a special feature in the Twisted Metal Head-On Extra Twisted Edition with a beta version in it and Sweet Tour, part of Lost where you can control and run around as Sweet Tooth in an asylum. Lost has no story and no endings. You can only choose a vehicle, play 3 levels, and the game ends. There is a version of Sweet Tooth painted gold, known as Gold Tooth, using the same weapons, but is slightly faster and stronger. This Sweet Tooth has more backstory than any other installment. Marcus is an ice cream truck driver and family man with 4 children and a wife. His life is as good as it can be, but with a voice calling out to him in the back of his mind. The voice gnaws into his brain and continues to call him until one night, Marcus answers.
It took me years of screaming and clawing and breaking him down. Years of calling out to him, trying to get him to set me free.
The voice got him to carve a mask and with full control, going by Sweet Tooth the Clown. Sweet Tooth is a murderer and psychopath who chooses the Kane family as his first victims.
Marcus, no!
Marcus doesn't live here anymore.
Please, no! Marcus, wait!
Shut up and bleed, you mother...
When Marcus's eldest daughter is left, she fights back and stabs Sweet Tooth in the eye. She ends up escaping, but Sweet Tooth will never let her go. She eventually checked herself in a psychiatric hospital, hoping to escape and heal herself. Sweet Tooth is able to track her down and slash his way through the hospital until he reaches her door. Unfortunately, he had just missed her. For years, he continues to track her down, killing anyone who remotely resembles her. One night, Sweet Tooth hears of Calypso's Twisted Metal tournament and decides to enter. After he has won, Sweet Tooth enters Calypso's tower and makes his wish.
Take me to her now!
Your wish is granted.
Calypso reveals that Sweet Tooth's daughter has been dead for 10 years. The night he went on a rampage through the hospital, she actually ended up ending herself, too damaged from what happened to her family. But Calypso did send Sweet Tooth where she was, in her coffin buried in her grave, now marked Sweet Tooth. It turns out that Sweet Tooth left his eldest son alive, Charlie Kane.
He kept me alive, so I could continue his good work.
Charlie, now older, knows his father left him alive to carry on his legacy. He visits Sweet Tooth's grave, digs it up, and retrieves his father's mask. Charlie is determined to be as strong as Sweet Tooth and get his revenge on Calypso.
My father was my hero, and Calypso killed him. Soon, I'll be strong enough to return the favor.
In the epilogue, Calypso decides to visit the grave and retrieve the girl, giving her her own clown uniform and fiery hair.
Welcome back, Sophie Kane. Are you ready to play?
While not driving in his ice cream truck, Sweet Tooth makes appearances in other video games, such as being a playable golfer in Hot Shots Golf 2, being able to wear his mask in Payday 2, and most recently being able to drive his truck in Rocket League. His most notable appearance is PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, where after defeating the Polygon Man, wins a new keychain. When starting his truck with it, the keychain gives him new upgrades and power. Sweet Tooth heads down the road ready for the next Twisted Metal tournament.
Oh man, he's never gonna know what hit him. Sweet Tooth is back, baby. Bigger than ever.
The Twisted Metal TV series first premiered on July 27, 2023. It showed us the Sweet Tooth we all know and love, with him being the terror of Las Vegas with plenty of Easter eggs of the video game series.
This is Harold. Been my best friend since I was a kid.
Sweet Tooth's physical actor is played by Samoa Joe, who is well known as a professional wrestler. His voice actor is played by Will Arnett, who is a well-known actor and voice actor such as BoJack Horseman and in Arrested Development.
Some say wealth is an illusion. Well, let's just see. For one moment it's here, and in the next, Monopoly.
Season 2 will be available for streaming on Peacock tomorrow actually, 2 years after the first season. The trailer shows us that Stu, minus Mike, is back with Sweet Tooth and his flaming hair, ready to play the tournament with his Carnival of Carnage.
I've been waiting minutes to do this.
If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and consider subscribing to see more videos like these and some gameplays. You can also watch the story of the leader of the Twisted Metal tournament, Calypso, by clicking the video on the left. Check out the description too to find my other social medias. I am Heathen, and I thank you for watching the story on Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal.
And that concludes our tour.